It's the Monday Morning Show. I'm Ken Salle, and in just 2 days' time, less than 48 hours from now, I will be hiking on the Pacific Crest Trail. Now, the plan, as you'll soon learn, is to hike quite a ways and not to call someone to pick me up before my first day is over. I'm really shooting for that. You may not be aware of this, but I consider myself the worst backpacker alive. It's not so much that I can't backpack, that I can't walk with weight strapped to my back. I call myself the worst backpacker alive because I never seem to get into it as much as other people I see. I'm not a gearhead when it comes to this, or anything, for that matter. I don't like hanging out at camp. In fact, the entire reason I'm trying through hiking is because this will give me the freedom to keep hiking if I want. When you hike overnight, there's nowhere to go when you reach your destination or your camp spot, but back, which I've done. Probably the worst thing about through hiking is that there's no way to know if you like it until you do it. You can't try hiking for 10 days just a little. You can't get a bite-sized version of that. And if I don't like this, I am kind of screwed. Granted, I'm kind of screwed in a variety of ways. Last week, I mentioned all of my health problems. I tore my rotator cuff, herniated several discs in my spine. I even got a cyst in my neck. But that's all settled. That's all healed. Unfortunately, another thing started last week, which I cannot ignore. But you can be damn sure I'm going to try. You see, my left ankle has started to hurt really bad. And it's not all the time, and it's not even most of the time. I'll just step wrong and my ankle will explode in pain, and I honestly don't know what to do. I can't see a doctor because any doctor in his right mind would immediately tell me not to hit the PCT, if I even got in to see a doctor. But I've been planning this for months. How can I possibly not go? Instead, I'm just going to work through it. The good news is my ankle never hurts in my boots. Never. And yes, I'm wearing boots. I'm going old school. Simply put, I have boots and I'm not going to just go buy a pair of trail runners. Or 2 pairs. Or 3. My plan is to see how the boots feel, how it all works out, and if I think trail runners are a better choice, I'll change my strategy next year. Let's see, why else am I a terrible backpacker? Well, I hate being alone. There's that. I'd much rather hike with a friend, and fortunately, I hear I'll be surrounded by friendly people, so maybe it won't be that bad. What else? Well, I love the comforts of home. I mean, I really, really love the comforts of home. I love my sofa. I love my computer. I hate being away from my wife and my dog. It's important to say those in the right order. Why am I doing this again? Okay, I'll tell you. When I was a kid, one of the things I wanted more than anything was for the chance to run away. I'm not talking about running away from home, though I tried that too. I just mean a chance to go. To go and keep going and not turn back. The lure of the open road, well, it sucks now because I'm too old to drive thousands of miles at a stretch, and besides, we no longer live in a time when wasting gas like that is even remotely cool. But that same lure is what drives me to the Pacific Crest Trail. The idea that I can just go as far as I want. If I want to hike 10 miles in a day, no problem. If I want to stretch that out to 15 miles, all the better. If I want to keep going for 20 miles, well, maybe I should think about that. And how about if I take that to 25 miles? Well, that's clearly too much. How about 30? Stop! Just stop right there. But you get the idea. Now, when it comes to being prepared, I'm about as close to that as you can get. I've tested all of my gear. I've taken long walks in the city with 30 or so pounds on my back, which is a big mistake, by the way. That's a sure way to get blisters. But that said, I've also learned how to dress my own blisters, something I would rather never have to do again if I can help it, he said just before hiking on the PCT. My backpack, fully packed and ready to go with 5 liters of water and 5 days of food, weighs in at an ungodly 38 pounds, which I hear isn't too bad. But let me tell you, it's terrible. It's crazy heavy. I decided to take out 1 liter, but that's only about 2 pounds, and that won't matter at all because I keep finding things I still need to pack. I don't know how so many people hike the PCT with so much weight. I've actually cut things I really wanted for fear of adding more weight, which is good because I'd hate to say my pack weighs over 40 pounds, you know? So what did I cut? Well, I cut out all music because to listen to music, I'd have to add a speaker and more batteries because I'd burn through them playing music. I was considering taking my harmonica, but I didn't want to add the weight or get killed by other hikers sick of hearing the sound of my, attempts at music. I'm taking an extra pair of socks, but not too much else when it comes to clothing. I'm actually going to mail back my light jacket when I get to Idlewild, because that also happens to be where Vicky is mailing me my heavy jacket. I'm probably overpacking when it comes to my first aid kit, but, worst comes to worst, maybe I'll be able to help someone else, right? Now, I figured I would take an opportunity to share all of the things I want to do when I'm on the trail. And this is going to be a short list, since at most, I'll only be on the trail until the Cajon Pass. Seriously, if I call for a ride from anyone, that's gotta be it for me as a backpacker. Last time I went backpacking, I called for help, and I figured I probably called far too soon. Only after I got home did I find out I had split my feet open. So, okay, maybe that wasn't unnecessary, it just feels like it was. So, what are the things I'm looking forward to? Number 1, the 1 mile mark. I've seen it in all the videos, and I can't wait to see it in person. Now, if you think I'm being needlessly sentimental, item number 2 is the southern terminus. Listen, I don't have to hike to get there, and I can watch all the millions of Mexicans our politicians always tell us are coming over the border. Mind you, I've never seen a single person coming over in anyone else's videos, but hey, maybe it'll happen when I'm there, right? I mean, according to so many Republicans, it's bound to. Number 3, Hauser Creek. Coming in at mile 15 is Hauser Creek, a spot that has recently been way overused. My personal plan is to camp at the top of the ridge opposite the creek, which I think is at the 16-mile mark, so I don't have to face that climb first thing the next morning. Number 4, obviously breakfast in Lake Marina the next day. As stupid and American as this might sound, some of the things I'm looking forward to most are the places to eat. So, with that in mind, let's add number 5, Paradise Cafe, number 6, someplace in Julian, number 7, someplace in Idlewild. Listen, I've heard about so many great places in both towns, I'm sure I'll find more than one personal favorite. Number 8, just once, I want to shout at the top of my voice, "The loons, Norman! The loons!" What? I'm certainly not going to do that in the city. Number 9, Eagle Rock. You kidding? I've been there twice, but crossing it on a through hike, even one as short as mine, would feel amazing, I think. And I can't wait to find out. And number 10, snow. Now, I know we're getting pretty late, but from the videos I've seen that were filmed just last week, there's still plenty of snow up in the mountains. And I would love to hike in it. Don't ask me why. Honestly, I don't know. It's that same nebulous feeling that I attribute to thru hiking itself. Why? Because that's why. That's just 10 items, but I could probably name a lot more. I suspect that I will be so captured by the beauty on the trail that I will find myself crying several times each day. Tears of awe will run down my cheeks, and any other hiker nearby will carefully avoid that crazy guy crying at the scenery. But honestly, I can't be the only one, right? Right? I want to see the stars. I want to experience the silence. I figure that'll happen in the middle of the day rather than at night when all the bugs will be chirping and the mountain lions will be eating my fellow campers. One of the reasons I started this was to come to terms with and inevitably understand my fears. Fears of wild animals, of course. Fears of getting lost and dying in the middle of nowhere. Sure. But I think my biggest fear has always been fear of incompetence. I just want to prove to myself that I am capable. This might sound strange, but I've reached this age where I can no longer accept fear from myself. It's just never a good enough reason. Mind you, if I do get lost and dehydrated and die out in the desert, I'm going to feel very foolish. And let me give a quick shout out to my beautiful wife, Vicky, who has been so supportive through all of this. It's amazing. I mean, I know there are spouses supporting their loved ones who are gone for months on the trail, but I have known too many who would never even allow such a thing. But Vicky has been great. She totally downplays her role, but without her encouragement, without her to tell me my dream of hiking for about a month straight, and keep in mind, this is simply a prologue to when I try the whole thing next year, without her to tell me I'm not nuts. I mean, money and purchases aside, I have the most amazing, lovable wife. I love you, Vic. I just love you like crazy. Now, before I go, I wanted to mention all the new listeners who have decided to give the Monday morning show a try as I get ready for the PCT. And I hope you stick around afterwards. And if you would like to help support me and support my endeavors, I won't ask for a handout or a donation, but I will ask that you pick up one of my books or audio productions. I don't often make direct appeals to my audience. In fact, I don't know if I ever have thus far. But now that I'm attracting an audience, it might not be a bad time. If you enjoy anything about this podcast, you might also enjoy something else I've done. And you can find it all on kenlasalle.com. That's KenLasalle.com. You can find my books, which are also available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all the online retailers. They're very reasonably priced. So too are my audiobooks and other productions such as monologues and experimental work. Not to mention the comedy album I just produced and released with The Third Wall, which I just mentioned. It's called The War on Green. It's hilarious. And you can find all of that on my website, kenlasalle.com, as well as on iTunes, Audible, Amazon, and plenty of other e-tailers. And if you want more about the Pacific Crest Trail, you should pick up a copy of Heaven Enough, which is a novel that takes place on the PCT. It's garnered some terrific reviews, and I really think you'll enjoy it. I've just completed the first draft of 2 sequels to Heaven Enough, so look for more stories about Matt Murphy, coming soon. As for me, I'll be gone hiking. You can check my YouTube page for updates from the trail. Just search for my name, Ken LaSalle, and you should find me. Though, I warn you, I'm terrible at speaking off the cuff. Hell, I even write these podcasts. But that will do it for today. I'll be back in about a month to share some stories from the trail. Until next time, be good to yourself, be kind to others, and let's make this world a better place.